This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From online shops and websites to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to curate an aesthetic online presence and run your business. Hello all, I hope you're keeping well. I know in my last video that I said that this video was going to be on Euphoria, but I'm actually working on my dissertation at the moment and that's been taking up all of my time, so I haven't had the time that I would like to devote to looking at the intricacies of Euphoria. So once my dissertation is done, and that's going to be in a couple weeks, I am going to dive deep into the highs and lows of Euphoria. So this week, in line with me distracting myself in every free moment with a TV show, I thought that I would give some TV show recommendations. There's a huge variety of shows here, so I feel like there is something for everyone. I've divided the shows into two categories, and the first category is, if you haven't watched this yet, like, what are you doing? And it consists of shows that you've most likely heard about. And the second category is, why aren't more people talking about this? And it includes some popular shows, but it's mainly shows that I think haven't gotten the attention that they deserve. I'll break down what I think makes the shows unique and why I think that they're worth watching. I'll also try my best to compare it to a show or genre that you may have watched before. In case you're wondering where to watch the shows, I flagged whether some of them are maybe on Netflix or Amazon Prime, but I know for a lot of shows their availability depends on where you are in the world, so where you can watch them may depend on where you live. So we're going to start off with the if you haven't watched this yet, what are you doing category. Chances are I'm not the first person to tell you to watch this show, and I'm not going to be the last either. So first off, we have Succession. Succession is the buzz show at the moment. It's what Mad Men, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones all once were, where it seems like everybody's watching it or talking about it or talking about not watching it. And there's a good reason for this buzz. Succession is probably the best written and best acted show that I've ever watched. And I remember in my second year of college, I did a screenwriting class, and our professor of screenwriting held up Succession as the pinnacle of good writing. And honestly, I did not think that I was going to like this show. Never in my life did I think that I was going to care about a show that talked about stock prices and shareholders. But now I see that share price drop, and I feel the urge to pop in a Bluetooth earpiece and yell at my employees about how to accelerate our next acquisition. The show revolves around the family that run this media monolith called the Roy family, and it dives into all their dysfunction and disasters. This show has everything. It is Shakespearean in its family dynamics, and it delivers a scathing critique of modern politics while also referencing memes.
Living rent-free up here.
It is hilarious, it's a little gay, and it constantly has me on the edge of my seat. Fleabag is incredible. It is the height of television. It is poetic cinema. There are only 2 seasons with 12 episodes in total, and I'm always impressed by the amount that Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is the writer and star of the show, is able to fit into the half-hour runtime. It's a BBC show, and honestly, the BBC never miss with their TV shows. If I see that a show is BBC, I know it's going to be good. Fleabag follows an unnamed narrator named Fleabag as she navigates the guilt and grief that came with losing her best friend. She has a difficult relationship with her dad and her sister, and she spends most of the first season trying to run from her problems, all the while delivering asides to the camera. The subject matter gets quite dark, but Phoebe Waller-Bridge expertly balances the profound and emotional moments with humor.
The next man who walks in here is getting ridden to death. Dad!
Hi.
Not ideal.
The first season of the show was also written by the phenomenal Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and wow, this show has it all. It has guns, it has gays, and it has gorgeous, gorgeous gowns. Each season has a different female head writer, but the tone manages to stay consistent throughout. Killing Eve follows a female assassin named Villanelle, which, may I add, is the best name for a female assassin that I've ever heard. and the MI6 agent that is assigned to track her down named Eve. It stars Sandra Oh of Grey's Anatomy and Jodie Comer, who has this ability to switch accent mid-sentence. Villanelle is such an intriguing character, and even though she's murdering people, I always want to see more of her. So much of the entertainment comes from watching Villanelle transform her persona completely in order to fit whatever assassination she has to do. Without giving too much away, this show gets a little gay, as Villanelle and Eve play cat and mouse, and I could spend hours talking about this show, and even more talking about Villanelle's wardrobe, but if you like action and espionage as well as sapphic women, then this is the show for you. I recently started rewatching BoJack Horseman, and it still manages to feel fresh and funny even years after I've already watched it. It is an animated show that follows a washed-up celebrity horse who battles drug and alcohol addiction as he struggles to restart his career. He has turbulent relationships with those around him, namely his roommate Todd, his ghostwriter and friend Diane, and his agent Princess Carolyn. You wouldn't expect a show about an animated anthropomorphic horse to deliver poignant reflections on mental health and interpersonal relationships, but it does. It delivers punchy cultural commentary on everything from women's rights to gun control. One of my friends and I used to joke that BoJack was the only show that respected women because it was one of the first shows that either of us saw that had really well-developed female characters and engaged well with women's issues. BoJack is the kind of show that reveals more with every viewing. The writers really flesh out the world of the show so that every other frame has a hidden joke. I actually think Fleabag and BoJack are kind of similar in their depiction of self-destructive protagonists, so I think if you like one, you might like the other. All 6 seasons are available on Netflix if you want to check it out. If you like sitcoms like The Good Place or Arrested Development, then chances are you will like Schitt's Creek. It follows the Rose family after they lose all their money and are forced to live in a small town in Canada called Schitt's Creek. The show is written by Dan and Eugene Levy, and the characters are amazing. Every character is unique, and they all have such distinct mannerisms and ways of speaking that makes something as simple as brunch just so hilariously entertaining.
I am appalled that my baby girl has turned into a selfish, duplicitous whore. Oh, hello.
It's a lot lighter than the previous shows that I've mentioned. The characters definitely go through their ups and downs, but it's ultimately a very wholesome and heartwarming show. We see the family deepen their relationship with one another, as well as the citizens of Schitt's Creek. It also has really well-developed queer characters, specifically pansexual characters, which always makes the show better in my book. There are 5 seasons, they're all on Netflix, the episodes are 20 minutes long. You should watch it. Those are my recommendations for shows that I think are already quite popular and have gotten the attention that they deserve. And before I get into the second half of this video, I just want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. I've worked with Squarespace before, and I really love how easy and accessible their website building platform is. Squarespace has a seemingly endless catalog of award-winning design templates that you can use to kickstart your website. Whether you want to showcase your portfolio, sell your products, or just show a picture of a cat floating in space like it's 2013, Squarespace has the tools to make you the best looking and best functioning website possible. If you are running an online business, you can implement e-commerce templates in the click of a button. Squarespace also provides inventory management, a simple and straightforward checkout process, and secure payments, so one day you could be earning more money than Walter White. Just try to avoid putting your money in the washing machine. There's no limit to the amount of products that you can sell, and whatever it is you're selling, Squarespace has the merchandising features to make your products look their best online. Squarespace also includes a feature that automatically optimizes your website for mobile, so your site works seamlessly across all devices. So if you're interested in launching a website of your own, go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/femfatales for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. There's a wide spectrum of shows in this next section, and some are already quite mainstream and popular, but they're ones that I think deserve more attention. First, we have Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you have seen this show, you know that it is genuinely one of the best shows that has ever been put on television. But if you haven't seen this show, you might be a little surprised as to why it's here. Avatar is an animated show that aired on Nickelodeon between 2005 and 2008. It is a show that's targeted towards children, but everyone I know that started watching it as an adult loves the show. It's a fantasy show in which people have the ability to bend the elements: earth, fire, water, and air. And there's one person in a generation who has the ability to bend all 4 elements, who's named the Avatar. The show follows the Avatar, an 11-year-old airbender named Aang, as he takes on the Fire Nation, who are essentially a totalitarian government that are trying to colonize the world. The show feels really similar to Studio Ghibli films. It's magical, it's full of nature, it has amazing world building, it has well-developed characters and relationships, and it ultimately just feels really wholesome. It explores grief, war, and colonization, as well as friendships, teenage crushes, and families. I grew up watching the show on Nickelodeon as it aired, and I still rewatch it every year or every other year because I haven't found a show quite like Avatar. If you want something wholesome that feels like a Studio Ghibli film, then I would highly recommend Avatar. Next is Skam, which I mentioned in my video on Teen TV, and I'm gonna bring up again here because it is just that good. It is a Norwegian TV show originally, but there have also been a lot of remakes like French, Spanish, German, Dutch, Italian, American, probably more. I've only watched the original Norwegian show, so I can only speak to that. I discovered it when I was 18, and even though I was already in college, it still spoke to me and felt like a really raw and honest depiction of teenage experiences. All of the actors are teenagers, they have acne, and the characters struggle with school, their social life, their families. It mainly revolves around one group of friends, and across the 4 seasons, each season focuses on a different character. The second season does contain allusions to sexual assault, so if that is something that you are sensitive to, you might want to skip that season. The third season features a gay coming of age narrative, and it is such a good depiction of coming to terms with your sexuality. And it also has characters with mental illness, specifically bipolar disorder. The 4th season follows Sana, who is a Muslim teenager, and watching that season, I remember it was the first time that I saw people practicing Islam depicted casually in Western media. If you watch a lot of teen TV and you're craving something more realistic and raw, then I would recommend Skam. Keeping with the theme of teen TV, Pen 15 is one of the most innovative and unique shows that I have seen. It is a hilarious look back at middle school from the comedic geniuses Maya Erskine and Anna Konkle. The 2 women who wrote the show also play fictionalized versions of themselves back in middle school, and the show is of course written really well, but even just the image of the 2 women in their 30s pretending to be teenagers and then interacting with actual teenagers is just hilarious. The show is kind of like 8th grade, but if you've replaced Elsie Fisher with Dakota Johnson. It's set in the year 2000, and it shows the girls doing things like picking AIM usernames. The show captures so many nuances of tweendom, especially when it comes to the intricacies of female friendships. It also explores the emotional complexity of puberty, a time that can be quite alienating. One of the characters, Maya, is also Japanese American, so the show explores issues of racism. For example, she's told that she can't be Posh Spice in a Spice Girls project because she's Japanese. Overall, the show looks at tween years in a way that I've never seen before, and I would recommend it to probably everyone. I never see people talking about this next show, and it's called The Night Of. It is a limited series from HBO, and it stars Riz Ahmed. He plays a Pakistani American named Naz, who is accused of murder. The show begins the night of the murder and follows his time in prison awaiting trial and the trial itself. It also stars John Turturro and the late Michael K. Williams. The show is a really poignant commentary on the American prison system and how race affects your treatment in the justice system. We see the main character Naz change over his time in prison, all the while his family are struggling with their relationships, their finances, and their reputation. If you like shows a little darker that explore complex cultural issues, then I think the show is for you. I May Destroy You is another limited series of only 1 season, and huge trigger warning for this show because it deals very heavily with issues of sexual assault. And if you want to skip this section, I'll put a time mark on the screen if you don't want to hear discussion of sexual assault. The show was written by and stars Michaela Cole, who you may know from her show Chewing Gum. The show follows a Twitter personality and novelist named Arabella as she tries to break through writer's block for her second novel. As her publisher's deadline approaches, she goes out to a bar with some friends in London where she blacks out and is sexually assaulted. She tries to piece together what happened, not only to find out who did it, but also to process the emotion and trauma. It's a really intimate and sensitive portrayal of sexual assault that I think is really important, because I think a lot of shows and film include depictions of sexual assault without necessarily exploring the aftermath and the trauma that comes with it. The show is a commentary on sexual assault, specifically in the Me Too era, but despite its heavy subject matter, Michaela Cole manages to bring some lightness and humor throughout the series. Next we have Atlanta, and I feel like Atlanta is a really underrated show, and I know everybody that has watched it has loved it, and I've seen people talking about it online, but I feel like I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, especially considering how great it is. Atlanta is the brainchild of Donald Glover, who you may know as Childish Gambino. It is surrealist, hilarious, and impossible to categorize as it swings from horror to humor in 20 minutes. No two episodes of the show feel the same. Overall, it follows Donald Glover's character Earn as he tries to make it in the rap business by representing his cousin, who is a rapper named Paperboy. But episodes often veer away from him to focus on other characters. His ex-girlfriend is played by Zazie Beetz, and Lakeith Stanfield plays Darius, Paperboy's right-hand man. If you even just watch one episode of this show, it will show you how brilliant it is, and that episode is Teddy Perkins, where Darius, who you really just can't help but love, encounters this Michael Jackson-esque figure. I'm aware this video might be getting a bit long, and I also don't want to bombard you with too many TV shows, so I'm gonna speed run through the next ones. The Magicians is like if Harry Potter revolved around adults, it didn't have token minorities, and J.K. Rowling wasn't a TERF. It revolves around a group of magicians as they attend a university of magic. And there's this magical Narnia-esque world called Fillory, and the first season of the show is okay. They fumbled a sexual assault storyline, and that initially threw me off it, but I think the writers really learned from their mistakes, and the show just gets better and better. The characters are diverse, the world building is great, and if you grew up watching Harry Potter, then I think you'll love this show. High Fidelity is a show that got cancelled way too soon, and I'm still grieving its loss. It stars Zoe Kravitz as a woman named Rob, who recently broke up with her boyfriend. She owns a record shop in Brooklyn where she spends a lot of time reflecting on her past relationship. And since the characters work in a record shop, the soundtrack for the show is just banger after banger, hit after hit. It also has one of the best side characters of all time, Rob's coworker named Charisse. If you want to watch the show, do it for her. The Boys is a superhero show that asks, how would superheroes actually function in our contemporary society? Yes, they save people and they can do cool things, but they're ultimately celebrities and capitalist commodities. It's a really interesting and refreshing take on the superhero genre, which I think is even more impressive considering how saturated that genre has gotten over the past few years. I'm not even a huge superhero person, but I loved this show. It encompasses everything from the marketing of superheroes to the people that are trying to take them down. And despite the name The Boys, it does have female characters, and they are well developed. There's 2 seasons so far, and they're both on Amazon Prime, if you're interested. We love comedians doing drama, especially if that comedian is Bill Hader. Bill Hader plays an assassin named Barry who decides to get into acting. And if that is not an amazing premise for a show, I don't know what it is. A limited crime drama starring Kate Winslet and Evan Peters? Yes, please. Mare of Easttown is set in rural Pennsylvania, and Kate Winslet is a detective named Mare who investigates a string of missing teenage girls. It talks about grief, addiction, and family issues, all the while delivering a captivating mystery. If you like crime shows and or were obsessed with Evan Peters in American Horror Story, I think you should watch it. Sharp Objects is similar in vibe to Mayor of Easttown. It is a limited series based off the book by Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl. It stars Amy Adams, who plays a journalist who goes back to her hometown in Missouri to investigate a string of murdered girls. It also explores complex mother-daughter relationships, and it was directed by Jean-Marc Vallée, who also directed the first season of Big Little Lies, so the cinematography is stunning. This one is definitely dark, and I recommend checking out the trigger warnings before you watch it, but if you like Gone Girl and you like mysteries, then I think that this is for you. Nathan For You is another one of those shows where I just haven't found anything like it. I don't think I've ever laughed more at a TV show than Nathan For You. The comedian Nathan Fielder poses as a business consultant who suggests ridiculous schemes to unsuspecting business owners. It's not a scripted show. All the business people are real people, not actors. So a lot of the humor comes from just watching what people are willing to do when a professional person tells them to do it. The show's finale, however, is a feature-length documentary that genuinely blew me away. Nathan and a Bill Gates impersonator that he has hired over the course of many of his schemes embark on a journey to find the impersonator's long-lost love, a woman named Frances. For a show that revolves around cringe comedy and roping people into ridiculous schemes, it is also a touching portrait of our universal desire to connect with other people. Those are all the shows that I'm recommending to you today. I could definitely keep going, but I don't want to overload you with dozens of shows. If you end up watching any of these TV shows because of this video, please come back and tell me what you thought, and leave your own recommendations for TV shows in the comments so that I can continue to procrastinate doing my dissertation and start a new TV show. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.